Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Nejib Jemli, the Chief Product Officer at UBIKA. Thank you very much, Nejib, for joining us for today's session.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to have you here. And today's episode is about the importance of security for SaaS companies in the road of rising cyber attacks. So the first question for you, Nejib, could you please describe your journey as a product leader? What brought you to this field, and what are you busy with these days?
Okay, so thank you, Jerry, for this invitation, and which gives me the opportunity to share with you my experience. So, so my name is Nejib Jemli. I started, let's say, 25 years back as a software engineer, and then I moved to different position, let's say, project management, R&D management. Then after, I would say, 10 to 15 years, I realized that I can bring more value when I have double hats, so business and technical. So I did an MBA, and then basically with two hats, the product choice or journey becomes the obvious path for my career. And so basically, when you are dealing with a product, the priorities, there is two basically. You know, product management is a management by influence, right? So you don't have, generally speaking, the hierarchical, let's say, position, but you have to convince people, right, and to inspire people. So this is at the internal level, when you have a team to deal with, and you should bring this team to bring the best of themselves. So this is the general management, but more focused on the product to bring the best approach on or best feature that you bring to the market for your customers. So that's one, and the other one is the ability to bring satisfaction to your customer base, because you are dealing with feature from one side for the customer satisfaction and the profit for the company.
Okay, thank you. So, and can you be more specific on like what keeps you busy these days at UBIKA? Like, what are the current priorities for you right now?
So, UBIKA, we are a European pioneer in the WAP market. What we are calling WAP is web application and API protection. And basically, with more and more attacks, basically coming, it's doubling from year to year. So we have at least this period. As we are a few months ahead of the Olympic Games in France, so with a bigger visibility from France, and when we talk visibility, so there is attacks. So we are now busy to advise our customers how to take benefits of our product and the feature on product to hire more their protection on their API and web applications.
Okay. Well, I think we're all excited about the upcoming Olympics, so very much looking forward to that. That makes sense. So thank you for sharing that. Well, today we'd like to discuss security. So if you could tell us a bit more about what should startups or even mid-sized companies consider when building even the first version of the new product, or iterating or innovating the existing one. What are the must-haves from your point of view?
Okay, so I would say there is 4 things to keep in mind, at least nowadays. So the first thing is that more than half of internet traffic is coming from bots, not human, right? and more than 1/3 of this whole traffic is from bad bots, because there is bad bots and good bots. Good bots is, generally speaking, is for SEO or crawler, etc. But 1/3 of internet traffic is coming from bad bots. That's the first point. The second point, there is companies or startups need to think about, we are more and more in open source software, and let's say we are building blocks to bring this SaaS offering, generally speaking. So we have to think about the zero-day exploits. Keep in mind the story of Log4j, for example, SolarWinds, right? So when you have a business, you need to be prepared for that. So that's the second point. The third point is the number of attacks. This is what I've said in the introduction. So if we look at the attacks, for example, Gartner did the comparison between 2021 and 2022. There is an increase of 52%, right? So that's the third axis. And the last and not the least is the misconfiguration breaches that can be opened intentionally. So if we took this together, the startup or mid-sized companies need to consider the security since the beginning, right? So to be able to focus more on their business while not, let's say, letting attacker make all this business down.
Those are pretty big numbers. You mentioned that 1/3 of traffic is coming from only those bad bots you mentioned.
Indeed.
All right. Okay. And when you mentioned that Gartner statistic, can you repeat it? Was it like year-on-year growth?
Yes. So there was 52% more attacks in 2022 compared to 21.
All right. Okay. So I guess it continues that way, right? And that's why we also
definitely. So the attacks is exponentially growing. So basically, you need to be prepared for that.
Okay.
Yeah, right. and I think there is something also to keep in mind, and this is coming also for the SaaS. So all what we are calling the digital transformation. So with the digital transformation, we have more and more digital services exposed on internet. So either through web applications or through APIs when we are talking about machine-to-machine communication, right? Or between servers. So we are exposing. So let's say if you take the 80s, there was no APIs, no exposure at the external. So now we are growing in such a way, exposing more and more API and web applications. And so naturally speaking, the attackers will have a huge opportunity to attack, let's say, to attack companies. Of course, at a different level, because we need also to talk about the motivation of attackers. So, right. So there is different level of motivation. So some of them are doing that only for fun, but it could be more than that, right?
Okay, well, it makes sense then that cybersecurity in general is a thriving industry. There's more and more companies in this space, and it definitely makes sense with what you're saying. So if you take it from the point of view of a little startup, a company that is just beginning, I guess you worked at some point in some small company, and you know how is it with priorities, right? You've got customers that are expecting some features, that are pushing you to develop something specific they want, and in my opinion, small companies, especially startups, really kind of focus on these things to deliver the features they need rather than taking into account the security aspect. So how do you see this kind of conflict between what companies should build and what customers truly want?
Yeah, indeed, this is I completely understand the position of startups, and when you're an entrepreneur, the first things is to bring your idea to the market, finding the first customers. I would say this is the core of the business, right? And you see the security as add-on, right? So with this, it can make sense, right? So and say in the thought of the CEO saying, okay, when I have the first customers, then I will and have some money, then I will put the security, right? This is a risky approach, and this is what I wanted to share here, because I've seen that you can be successful, but you can also, on the same time, disappear in a less time than you can imagine. That's the point, right? So you have to make a balance. There is some quick wins, right? So if you are a leader, then there is a balance between the more you progress, basically you balance your investment on the security. You have to think it since the beginning, so security by design, and then it's kind of risk assessment, right? So then you can arbitrate between what you are doing on the security while you are progressing, to not have let's say a big investment without the first customer. But once you get the first customer, my advice is, especially for, let's say, we are talking about SaaS companies, right? So internet facing. So there is bad bots are scanning the whole internet, right? So when you get the first customers, please think about the security.
Okay, thank you for this recommendation. I think this is very important for everybody, from small startups and companies that are just beginning to hear. So can you name a few of those most typical cyber attacks that even smaller or mid-sized companies should be prepared for? What are the most common things out there?
Yeah, so basically, if we are talking about let's say the most kind of attacks which is listed in the OWASP top 10, like SQL injection, like cross-site scripting, stuff like that. So basically, this is will bring basically different impacts on the company itself. So it could be the data theft, right? So that's obvious. Could be a sabotage, right? So you are successful, then we try to make sabotage on your business. Could be an availability, and this is very important. An availability for a SaaS company, it means a direct impact on their financial, right? So that's the big the typical basically consequences of cyber attacks, which and I do believe, because when I started, I was not let's say we don't have, not all software engineers they will have this security. It's a large domain, right? So sometimes we say, okay, my application is really well designed, but again, you need to have a field-proven technology to protect your assets.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. My next question is on the very, I'd say, favorite topic today. Everyone is talking about AI these days. So how does AI influence cybersecurity space? Are there any particular effective uses of AI in this regard?
Let me maybe before going to AI, say how typically a product manager, or let's say the one leading the product teams think about. So the product need to think about or having a balance between value and profit, right? So the value is the value that you propose to your customers, right? So to resolve or to address their pain points. That's one, the main act. So the product leader need to identify what is the needs of his customers, and identifying the features that, let's say, that will address this needs, while bringing a value as benefits for the customers. And this, of course, to deal with, you can consider as two circles. And from the other side, this investment from the company need to be profitable, right? To have a sustainable activity. And basically, the intersection should be the best fit, right? So you address the maximum, you bring the maximum or the value to the maximum of your customers, right? While making your company profitable, because as far as the company is profitable, then you are able to continue delivering the value. So this was the introduction to go to the AI, right? And AI is tremendous, basically, opportunity to bring more value to your customers. Of course, there is some conditions, is to understand your customers' business, your customer expectation, right? So if you bring it, let's say, in the cybersecurity space. So our missions now, from 20 years back, we are protecting web application and API from the customers. So this mission did not change in 25 years. What has changed, nevertheless, is the ecosystem, right? So we are more in an open ecosystem, and what I've said previously also, the number of attacks are being, let's say, more and more first, so the number, but also complex attacks. So the role here, we are relying on the AI to help us to detect how to say low signals, right? So something that it is not able to detect based on all your security engines that today, the AI will help you to give the signals, and basically to go deep dive and verify that this is a new kind of attacks. So basically, instead of making a reactive security, the AI will help companies to be proactive in their security. Mm-hmm. That's the challenge.
Okay. Thank you for this introduction to the AI. One follow-up question that just got on my mind. How do you are you preparing something exciting in terms of AI at UBIKA? Is there anything on the roadmap? Anything that you can talk about already, or anything that you already have?
Basically, regarding the AI, we are working with our customers to define our vision of AI, and this is basically, there is different ideas, and in UBIKA we believe that this cannot be decided or thought only from UBIKA side. And this is usually basically in our roadmaps. We are building our roadmap with our customers. So what we are calling innovation working group, and there is a dedicated innovation working group with our customers dedicated to AI, and we are preparing a webinar basically that will be coming soon. I don't have the date on top of my mind, but I would say in a few weeks right now to show some exciting let's say news, and we are building this vision regarding AI together with our customers.
Well, I can certainly say I'm talking with a product manager when I hear that the product is built alongside with your clients and in cooperation with them, right? And that's really nice attitude. I've got 5 final questions. These are kind of like quick questions. As this is a podcast for product managers, we'd like to kind of gather these 5 from everybody in this podcast. So the first one is, what is your number 1 challenge at work as a product manager?
So I would say, and this is so there is two things here. So our main challenge at UBIKA, and I would say in product management in general, is the customer satisfaction. So, or let's say this is the objective, right? And generally, it's the main challenges that the product manager is facing is, as he is doing everyday arbitration, right, in his roadmap. What comes first? What comes in a second? Let's say second time. So the challenge is how to constantly measure or his how to say his commitment to get the highest level of customer satisfaction while doing this arbitration in a constrained or limited number of resources, right? So that's basically what is fun in this type of jobs, right? So to be able to, because you are the decision maker for your product, right? So you are managing the P&L, but you have also this willingness or this I don't really find the real word, because this willingness to satisfy the majority of customers, which is something impossible in theory, but this is what drives us every morning, right? To say, okay, how can I do the arbitration on my backlog, right, to satisfy the majority of my customers?
Okay, thank you. And I think the next question follows up naturally to that one. You mentioned that customer satisfaction is the end goal, right? What we all are trying to achieve, I guess. So if you could choose one key metric, the sort of your North Star to define your success as a product leader, what would that be?
So there is one which is basically the attrition. I would say for any product leader, you need to monitor closely the attrition, because this is definitely, if you have a high level of attrition, it means that what you are executing in terms of roadmap does not match your customer expectation. That's one of so from one side, I would say the attrition, and from the other side, the satisfaction. This is the 2 KPIs that we are using to measure our success in our job.
But is there any like this? So you called it attrition and satisfaction. Is this like, do you call the metrics like that, or are there any like specific metrics? How do you call them?
So I would say so the satisfaction it's a standardized way of measuring the customer satisfaction through questionnaire, right? To compute your NPS or CSCT. So there is different indicators, and we are reaching, let's say, at least on UBIKA, we are providing that as a monthly reporting from product, right? So this is something from one side, and the attrition, of course, if you have a customer that will change going to your competitor, it means that you are not enough good, or the expectation that this customer was hoping from your product are not matching, right? So, and for that, I would say, okay, it's failure and it happens, but you need to understand why, right? And this should be at a less level as should be the minimum, right? So if you identify, as I said in the beginning, there is two circles. There is a value and the profit. And these two circles, there is, in general, there is a lapse. So if you identify that the attrition is outside of your focus, then it is expected attrition, right? But if it is in your focus where you bring value and you should be profitable and you are not good, then you need to revise your roadmap plan.
All right, thank you. And you mentioned some questionnaires forms that you're sending to your customers. How do you collect feedback from your customers apart from these that you already mentioned? What processes and tools do you use for that? Can you name few specific tools that you use or tactics?
Definitely. We in UBIKA, we believe, and this is at least what we say, and we believe on it. We are saying to our customer, we are building things with you and for you, right? That's very important dogma, basically, in UBIKA. And this is with different tools. So I've listed one of them, which is the Innovation Working Group, which is a powerful, basically, workshops or a way to build the roadmaps. So we define the scope. We let's say we show to to our customers through different workshops the items or the domains that we want to tackle, and we arbitrate with them. We prioritize these topics with them, right? And not only that, because sometimes there is a famous cartoon regarding what the customer expects and what the customer gets. No, we don't create any tunnel effect. So we, in the different stage, from the ideation to the delivery, we are always in a close touch with our customers. So they are, of course, it needs investment from both sides, right? But this is, generally speaking, at the end, the customer gets what he really expects, and not just the interpretation of the technical teams of the need, right? Because this is the majority of frustration is that the delivered feature does not match the expected need, right? So we don't want to have this trap from our side. So we are doing that in a close relationship with our customer in this Innovation Working Group. Of course, on top of that, we have this questionnaire, we have face-to-face meetings, right? Where sometimes when we identify the key customers that are, let's say, using in depth our product, and we did in general on-site workshops to understand how do they use our software, how the software need to interact on his ecosystem. This is the key to provide features answering or at least coping with the needs that the customer expressed in the beginning.
Okay. Well, it seems that you're taking your customers' feedback very seriously, and you're building a lot of processes around it. So
definitely, yes.
that's definitely.
I would say
maybe
a few comments here, and I think, and I will be thankful for the because UBIKA is part of a group called the TSS Group, a Total Specific Solution, which is a group specialized in vertical software, right? And this kind of customer obsession is one of the pillars of this group, right? And they are doing a lot of tools and materials, and sharing what we are calling internally the best practice, right? How to reach the highest level of customer intimacy and customer satisfaction.
That's great to hear. For the next topic, build versus buy. How do you decide?
Interesting topic. So basically, it's this is a strategic, I would say, a strategic topic, right? So generally speaking, so there is two levels. So there is the time to market, right? If you want to go faster to the market to bring things, then you can take into account the buy option, versus basically when you are in the core competency or the core value proposition, right? This is need to be, let's say, a build strategy, because this is what is your key differentiator on the market. You need to have the IP on that part, etc. So that's very important. And what is really adding value, but not in the core of your business, then you can consider the build, right? That's so time to market, core business, and differentiation, right? So you cannot differentiate yourself on the market with a technology coming from a third party. It could be the assembly of different things, right? Which is your IP to make these things working together, but it could not be your unique selling point on the market.
That totally makes sense. And the last question, also very interesting for my point of view, and for all of us here at Appmixer. What role do integrations with third-party products play in your product in UBIKA? Do you have integrations with third-party products, and how did you approach this one? Is this something that kind of differentiates you, so you decided to build this in-house, or did you outsource this to a platform?
That's an interesting question. And this is, by the way, is one of our strategic also access, the partnership. So we are, let's say, we are proposing a cybersecurity solution that protects the web application API, but the customer ecosystem is, let's say, much more richer than just the application. So there is an ecosystem, and what the customers are looking for is a holistic approach, right, to protect their digital assets. So what we are bringing, let's say, in this area is working with partners that is needed in the ecosystem of our customers to make this integration. So we are building our WAP gateway, for example, as a platform, right? Interacting with different, with third-party products, right? To bring a one-stop shop to our customers. So when customer is coming to look for a solution, for WAP solution, generally speaking, they are looking for a solution which is open, let's say, interacting with other solution, other cybersecurity solution. So we are acting as a platform, interacting with third parties, and with the ability to let's say to enrich all the integration layer on the customer ecosystem.
Okay. And so does that mean that you have like some API that your customers can connect to, and do they use their own integration platforms, or do you have something built inside your product?
So so we have so the integration could be at different layers, right? So it could be at the API, but also from our side, as one of our greatest differentiator on the market is the workflow. So basically, we are providing, it's a kind of toolbox. You know, you can build all your security policy through drag and drop, right? And in this drag and drop, you are able also to interact with external systems, right? Make decision, and based on the decision node, then you can try to, you can decide to add additional layer of checks, right? Or decide to say, okay, in this path, we are more safe. You can consider it as the security on the airports, right? So when you go through the scanner, this is our web gateway. So you go through the scanner. So then you have the signal, right? So it's a kind of decision node. And then based on the signal, then you can have the policeman ask you, let's say, for extra checks, right? So, and this could be on both sides. So third parties can rely on our APIs, right, to feed us with information. I can give an example for the threat intelligence, right? So when the customer is facing a lot of traffic or attacks from bots, right? So the customer can use our API to enrich our database to say, okay, with these IPs, I want to block them because these are doing a harmful job on my infrastructure. They are attacking my so they are calling our API. In the same file, we can, if in the flow that is going to your application, there is attached document, right? So in our system, we can call an external provider for anti-malware, right? To check if the document attached is safer or not, right? So this is in both sense.
Okay. All right. Well, that leads us to the end of our interview. Well, thank you very much again, Nejib, for taking the time and being our guest in today's episode on the importance of security for SaaS companies and the growth of rising cyber attacks. Thanks everyone.
Thanks a lot, Jerry.
And yeah, take care and see you next time.
Thanks.